Hello! So I've done one of these videos before and I figured I'd do another one just because I've been watching lots of horror films over the past couple of months. So these are 10 more horror movie hidden gems that you might have missed. Let's have a look. Okay, so as always, I'm going to try and keep these recommendations fairly spoiler free, and obviously I would advise that if you're going to go and watch them, if you like the sound of them, then don't watch the trailers first, just because the trailers give a hell of a lot away. So first up is a movie that I've watched fairly recently actually, and that is called The Night House. This one stars Rebecca Hall, who is fantastic in this movie, and this was on Disney+. This one is all about a woman who has recently lost her husband tragically to suicide, and she's starting to feel like there is a sort of presence in the house that she's living in. It's a house that he built, and so she starts to sort of delve into his past and discovers quite a few different little things about his life that she didn't really see coming. It's great. It's got such a really weird sort of foreboding atmosphere to it, and it's got some very, very clever special effects that work around sort of negative space, which you'll see what I mean when you watch it. It's quite a slow burn. It's not something that is, you know, sort of full of jump scares or anything like that, but I really enjoyed that. I thought it was a really nice sort of twist on almost like a ghost story. Yeah, I think that a lot of people will really enjoy this, and it's one that definitely pleasantly surprised me, so check it out. The Night House was great. So next up is a movie called The Room. No, not that one with Tommy Wiseau, and not the one with Captain Marvel in, where she's trapped in the room with her kid. This is all about a couple who move into a new house, and it's a big house because it's a horror movie and there's always a big house. And they start to discover that there's a sort of weird contraption going on that's all leading into this one room in their house that has been covered up. When they go into the room, they start to realize that whatever they wish for or whatever they dream of and that they want the most manifests itself in the room. So whether that's alcohol or money or anything like that, and they start to obviously get a bit greedy. They've been trying for a baby, so one of them actually wishes for a child, which obviously is it's not a good idea to manifest a child out of nowhere. And yeah, you just see the whole thing unravel. It's very, very clever. It's got a few tropes in there of you know, the sort of wish granting things, but I'd say there's definitely a really good twist in this one, and it has a really, really good concept. It's got a strong concept in terms of where the room came from and what happens with it and the rules around that room. So yeah, if you haven't seen this one yet, it's definitely one that I would recommend. I was pleasantly surprised by it. I thought it was actually very, very good. So now we have a movie called The Dark, and this one is from 2018, and this one is all about a guy who goes into the woods, who is on the run, and is actually murdered while he's in the woods, and it's by a girl who is kind of like a zombie. She's undead, she's kind of decaying a little bit, and occasionally a little bit feral, and she realizes that in his car there is a boy who is blind, and he's got sort of scars all over his eyes, so he can't see her. He doesn't know that she looks so horrific, and they start to form a bit of a bond. It's a really, really sweet film in some ways, but it's also very gruesome. This film kind of reminds me of Let the Right One In or Let Me Out, depending on which one you're watching. Please watch Let the Right One In, watch the original if you're going to. And it's got a really sort of strange, like, coming of age teen sort of vibe to it as well. It doesn't feel like every other teen movie at all. And it's got some really, really great special effects, especially around the girl's sort of zombie makeup. Now I have to say that the first time I watched this, which was quite a few months ago, I just thought it was okay. And then I watched it again recently and thought it was amazing. So maybe I just wasn't in the mood the first time. But let me know what you think of it. I really enjoyed this, so I would recommend this one. And I believe it's still on Amazon Prime in the UK. So yeah, go check it out. Okay, so this next one is probably the most famous one on this list, but I want to recommend it just in case anyone hasn't seen it, and that is called It Follows. And now It Follows is kind of all about a sexually transmitted curse or demon, and it follows a girl who has basically contracted this this demon from a boy that she sleeps with, and basically finds out that this thing is following her, and it manifests in lots of different ways. It can sort of look like anyone, and it just keeps coming until it finds you and kills you. So basically you just have to run and then pass the demon on by having sex with someone. So it's very scary. There's some really great effects in this one as well, but I will say that the soundtrack is amazing in this. So yeah, I'd fully recommend this to anyone who hasn't seen it. I think it's such a great concept. It's such a weird concept, and it just has this sort of really horrible feeling, especially when you're looking around in the film for something coming towards you, and it's coming towards you very slowly, but it's still going to get you. It's got a very Michael Myers vibe about it. So yeah, if you haven't seen It Follows yet, go and find it. I watched it on Shudder, and yeah, if you can, check it out. So now we have a movie called Hush. And this one doesn't have any supernatural elements in it at all. This one is a straight up home invasion movie. And obviously that is kind of a genre unto its own in horror. But this one has a bit of a twist to it, because the person whose home is being invaded is completely deaf. So she cannot hear where he is. She doesn't know where this person is who's trying to get to her. And this guy just is intent on tormenting her and trying to kill her. She does a great job at trying to defend her home, makes a few silly mistakes as we usually see in horror movies, but I found this one to be incredibly tense. Just has a really great vibe to it, and it was a bit of a surprise. I was actually expecting it to be, a bit of run of the mill, but it was a great film. It had a lot of sort of really tense atmosphere, a lot of great scenes in it, and some interesting kills as well. So I'd say if you can find Hush, I watched it on Netflix, really enjoyed it. So yeah, check it out. So next up is a movie called The Empty Man, and this is one that I watched on Disney Plus of all places. And I will say this is definitely one that you should not watch the trailer for, because when I watched it, it made this look like just a straight up supernatural horror movie, and it's really a lot more than that. It has a lot more going on and stuff to unpack that you don't really expect. It's quite a long movie, but I quite liked that. I like the fact that it just sort of had a lot of breathing room, and felt like it wanted to tell the story at its own pace. And it's basically about this creature called the Empty Man that you can call if you're on a bridge. You can blow into a bottle and make a sort of whistling sound and then call the Empty Man, and on the first night afterwards you hear him. The second night you see him, you'll have visions of him, and then on the third night he comes for you. So that sounds like a sort of a fairly typical horror movie supernatural trope, but there is a lot more to unpack, as I mentioned, and I really enjoyed that. I thought it was a very clever concept, and it has a lot of elements in it that you just do not expect. So yeah, go into this with an open mind. Do not watch the trailer, and yeah, just enjoy. I think it's still on Disney Plus in most countries, so definitely check out The Empty Man. It's very good. Next up, we have a movie called No One Gets Out Alive, and this is exclusive to Netflix as far as I'm aware. And this one is all about a woman who moves into a women's hostel, and she starts to have sort of weird visions of lots of ghostly goings on and lots of sort of strange activity in there, people going missing, and starts to investigate a little bit. Now, it sounds all very tropey and things that we've seen before, and for the most part it kind of is, but it does have some good scares, and it does have a really sort of strange twist at the end, as a lot of these films do. And I did really enjoy this, especially for the fact that it just felt really genuine, like they actually really loved what they were doing. And also I will say that the creature at the very end made me recommend this film. It looks like nothing I've ever seen before, and that was one thing that really startled me. So if you can watch this on Netflix, go and check it out, and let me know what you think. So next up is a movie called The Midnight Man, and a little bit like The Empty Man, there are certain rules to follow to be able to call the Midnight Man, but this one is more like a game. So it's about a couple of teenagers who discover this box that has all the rules to be able to call the Midnight Man in this game, and you just have to survive until about 4 a.m. And not leave the house. So you have to keep a candle with you, and you have to keep it lit. If it goes out, then you need to light it within 10 seconds, or else it can come and get you. And you just need to keep moving around the house all the time. So just, keep on the move. And luckily, with it being a horror movie, again, it's a big house. So yeah, there's lots of things to do. So this one had some really great scares in it. It has a great monster as well. The Midnight Man looks very cool. I will say that it does have a few stupid decisions in it, which we do have in most horror movies, I suppose. But also Robert Englund is in this. So horror legend Freddy Krueger himself is in this movie, and just plays a minor role, but it's nice to see him. And I will say that this one is not particularly incredibly gory, but it does have a lot of really great tense scenes in it. So if you can find Midnight Man, I watched it on Amazon Prime, but I'm sure it's available everywhere. Next up, we have a movie called A Dark Song, and this is a British horror movie, and basically just only has a couple of characters in it. It's all about a woman who is trying to contact her dead son, and basically has enlisted the help of someone who is a bit of an unorthodox character, and has basically dealings with the occult and dark rituals to be able to contact the other side. And this ritual takes place over several weeks, and has a lot of really intense things that this woman has to go through as well. It's a very intense movie, to be honest. The relationship between the two of them is quite fiery, and they both put in an incredible performance. I will say that, again, this has a massive twist in it, and also you need to pay attention to what they're talking about, the things that they're actually discussing, because some of the sort of morals and the lessons that they learn are all about what is to come at the end of the movie. So it's one that you really need to pay attention to, but I absolutely love this film, and the ending will definitely stick with you, whether you love it or hate it. But yeah, A Dark Song is not like anything that I've seen in a while, to be honest with you. So if you can check it out, I watched it on Amazon Prime, you definitely should. So before our final pick, I want to hear from you. So have you seen any of these movies? Let me know in the comments what you think of them, and also give me some recommendations, because I've had some fantastic horror recommendations from you folks. So also, if you go away and watch any of these, come back and let me know what you think. And obviously I'll be making more of these, and let me know what other lists you think I should be doing, or things that you'd like me to recommend. I'll be doing a alternative Christmas movies list very soon, so keep an eye out for that. But yeah, if you enjoyed this video, obviously make sure you give a thumbs up and do all the lovely YouTube things. If you subscribe, if you haven't done, because that really helps my channel out. Make sure that if you enjoyed the video, share it on social media, do all those things. And yeah, let's go to our final pick. Let's have a look. So last but certainly not least is a movie that I really enjoyed, and I've watched it several times since, and that is a movie called Saint Maud. And this one it's just fantastic. It's based in a very small sort of seaside town, and it's about a Welsh girl called Maud, who is a nurse, and she is going to look after this sort of fairly eccentric American lady. And basically basically Maud is incredibly devout. She's very, very religious and is very steadfast in her beliefs, and is sort of trying to push her beliefs onto not only other people, but obviously force them onto herself physically as well. She sometimes punishes herself for not being either as pure or as good as she could be. And you start to see her literally unravel as the story goes on. Also, I will say the sound design in this movie is incredible. It's very, very tense, and there's lots of incredible, like, really crisp sounds that are quite unnerving, and the music is great as well. It has a very, very memorable ending, as a lot of these films have. I don't want to reveal too much about it. I'll just say that if you can find it, I watched it on Amazon Prime and I absolutely loved it. So go and check it out and let me know what you think. So that's it. That's 10 more movies that are sort of horror movie hidden gems that I've watched recently. They're not your average horror movies. They've all got a little bit of something different in them, I think. And yeah, a bit of something for everyone as well. So as I mentioned, let me know what you think. And also here's a link to the last one of these that I did. So that's more horror recommendations as well. Keep an eye out on the channel for stuff that I've got coming up as well. I've got another sci-fi movies recommendations list, and also, as I mentioned, alternative Christmas movies list, because it's the holiday season now. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.